11:35, moving along here on the Big Show today. Bob Quinn and the Big Show. We're going to catch up with Dwayne here in just a couple of minutes. He's got the events of the day all ready to talk about them. Being brought to you by the Iowa Agriculture Water Alliance. Clean water in Iowa starts here. You bet it does. Doesn't matter where you're at, clean water in Iowa starts with you. We're going to have a special program tomorrow. Talk with Ben Gleason. Ben, one of the early on guys we were talking with about clean water projects. He's going to be with us tomorrow, talk about some of the things going on here in the state of Iowa, some of the projects that he is working on as well. Right now, we are looking at livestock and grain markets. Brian Hoops, Midwest Market Solutions, on the telephone line with us. Hey, Brian, before we get started, I had heard that Thursday is a shortened day in the market. Is that right?
Yeah, Bob, you are correct. So on Thursday, that is former President Jimmy Carter's memorial service. So the futures markets are closing at 12:15 Central Time that day. So about an hour early close for the grains and livestock. The cash markets, as far as the stock market goes, will not even open that day, so they will not be trading. But futures markets do have an early close on that session, yes.
Okay, well, we'll kind of have to remember that when we talk about what's going on Thursday, so we have an early close in commodity markets. Well, let's jump in and see what we're doing today. It's kind of a yawner in both corn and soybeans today, although we have pushed soybeans lower over the last few sessions. Let's talk soybeans first off. Brian, what's going on in that market?
Well, you're right about it being a yawner. It's kind of a quiet session. We've had a little bit of a bounce. It's led by soybean meal, and then soybean held along. And corn's been in a pretty solid uptrend since October, so that market's continuing to push higher. But it's the dry weather in Argentina that's attracted some buying interest, some short covering from the fund traders, lifting soybean meal and soybeans following in its wake. Now, the forecasts have turned just a little bit. 11 to 15-day time frame, we're looking a little bit wetter for Argentina, and that was yesterday's forecast confirmed today. Gives the trade a little bit more confidence. So since we were led to the upside by soybean meal, I would suspect we're going to be led to the downside by meal. Meal closed lower yesterday. It's the biggest loser on the board today, down 2% of its value. And we get past this dry stretch that we're in right now, and it is still dry in Argentina. If we get past that and rains start to fall, there's very little else to be supportive for the soy complex. Even if we have smaller crops out of Argentina, the big crop that's coming in Brazil is more than going to make up for it. We're already starting to see some cancellations of previous sales. That was noted last Friday in our export sales report. There was a lot of cancellations at the port. So I think we're on the kind of the tipping point here where we've had a little minor rally, probably a correction in an otherwise bear market, and we're looking at much lower prices in the next 30 to 60 days for soybeans.
Yeah, if I were just to all of a sudden wake up from a 6-month nap here and look at this market, I would say that we're looking at a bigger soybean production number out of South America. Nobody's maybe talking about it right now, but just by looking the way this market is reacting, I think everybody's in fear of a bigger soybean number. However, on the corn side, we've been talking about in the U.S. 95, 96, maybe million acres of corn, which would be not an all-time record, but we're nudging up against that. So apparently, we're not maybe believing we're going to see that big corn acres.
Yeah, we're kind of saying that right now, but I think that is going to change. Soybean supplies will be updated in Friday's report, and we could see maybe 4.8 billion bushels of soybean supplies. That would be up over 350 million from last year, the highest in 6 years, second highest on record. And then you have that South American crop coming on top of it. So it's going to be very difficult for soybeans. And I guess my point is if soybean prices struggle here, if values turn sharply lower, what is the U.S. farmer going to plant this spring? He's probably going to turn his attention to planting more corn acres rather than soybeans because of profitability, because of price competitiveness in corn, potential that yields could be much significantly larger than what you would get if you planted soybeans. So I think you won't see a maybe a huge shift, but enough of a shift in the mentality to plant 94, 95 million acres, and maybe even more than that by the time we start talking about March and April coming around here in the United States. We start talking about planting intentions.
Hey, Brian, we're going to watch that report as it comes out as well. Brian Hoops with us, Midwest Market Solutions. I'm going to talk cattle today. I said we're going to kind of concentrate on the cattle side of things today, and that's about the only market that's moving higher is cattle, live cattle and feeder cattle. So what's kind of in the cattle market?
Yeah, it's been a red-hot cash market through the holidays, and last week we were sharply higher, $8 higher on the dress basis, 3 to 4 live. And it looks like we're going to be stronger again this week. Some of the sale barns, in fact, our office in Yankton reporting that one of the stockman sales there in Yankton, South Dakota, 211 to 212. So red hot numbers, well above last week's cash trade, and that's going to keep feeder cattle strong in the futures market. The index is going to continue to move higher, and as that index moves higher, that's a reflection of the cash. The futures stay competitive with it, and we're also seeing box beef higher, and that's going to help out our live cattle futures. That'll help restore packer margins.
Hey, Brian, we're going to talk to you in another hour and 10 minutes and get some projections going forward. In the meantime, folks want to visit with you about markets. How can they do that?
Yeah, you can reach out to us. My number directly is 417-501-5132. You can also check us out online at MidwestMarketSolutions.com.
Thanks, Brian. Brian Hoops joining us to kick off this segment of the Big Show.